Well, hello. So this is a simple explanation of what we're doing with a Photoshop tutorial, just a very basic tutorial to get you started. I do appreciate that some of you have already used Photoshop, so yeah, don't worry not though, because what I'm actually showing you is going to be informative. Okay, so let's actually get started then. I want to create a new document first of all. And how Photoshop is looking at the moment for you is going to be different depending on whether you've opened it before and so on. But I'm looking for an A4 document. I want to make this into an A4 document, and I want the orientation to be portrait, as you can see over here. I also want this to be 300 ppi, or 300 dots per inch. And I also want to make this into CMYK color. I also want to, well, I'm not going to worry about the working CMYK because we're not targeting a particular paper type or anything like that. So that should do us for the moment, and I'm just simply going to create that. Okay, this simply makes a one blank page here, one blank white page. And I'm now going to bring onto the page one of the images that we've got in our assets folder. So I'm going to File, Place. Now you'll see that you can either embed it or link it. We don't want to link it necessarily, we're just going to embed it so it will all be part of this one document. So place embedded and then look for your image. Now I've given you a folder. You should have this folder here which consists of two images. I'm simply going to place the beach scene, placing that, and that just fills the page. I'm just going to enlarge it up very slightly because it's slightly too narrow, so that it makes sure they fill the complete page. Okay, so that's now put that onto a layer, as you can see over here on the right hand side. Layers are available under Window Layers, as is all of the items, all of the panels for configuring things and configuring the way you're working. It's all under Window. However, you will see that I've got certain icons over on the right hand side, so we're going to talk about that separately, where you can actually configure, although I may have already done that, to configure Photoshop as you like to see it. Okay, that's fine. So anyway, we've got that one image in there, and what I'm now going to do is to place the second image, File, and I'm going to place Embedded, the other image. Now I should explain what this is. This is a picture of Tom Conti playing Einstein in the film that maybe some of you have already seen just recently, about the atomic bomb and so on. Anyway, not to worry, I've just stolen that picture because it just represents a good example of the sort of challenge that we might have to incorporate something together. Those of you that know anything about music will appreciate that this is what we're actually going to build, is something like a sort of poster, if you like, for the famous music from Philip Glass called Einstein on the Beach, and that's what I'm proposing to do for you today, so that you can see how that all works. Okay, so now this image of Einstein, I want this to be sort of offset on the page. I want it to be certainly at the bottom of the page, so that we can cut this out and make it appear as if he is actually standing on the beach. And that's the idea. So I've selected that now. Now, as you can see, since it's got the cross over it, the blue lines cross, that means that it's not actually fixed yet. So I just need to double click, and that's now in that position. However, it is on a layer, so we have three separate layers here. And I'm just going to work on this top layer for the moment. But what I'm going to do is to hide the beach scene for the moment, so that this is now just sitting on what appears to be white. However, I do want there to be a colour there other than white to help me identify the outline of this particular shape. So what I'm going to do is select background, and then what I'm going to do is to add a new layer on top of that, although it's going to be what we call a fill layer. So I'm clicking this and making this into a solid colour, and I've already selected red, so I'll go with that. Maybe it's a bit dark. Let's just go for a pinkish colour. It doesn't really matter at this stage. It's not really important, the colour, as long as it's got some contrast and not just white. Okay, so that's now sitting there. Now this is an adjustment layer, so-called, so I can always change that color if I want to. Anyway, we're leaving it where it is at the moment. I'm now going back to select my top layer, in other words, the picture of Einstein. What I'm going to do now, with that object selected, I'm going to go to the Select menu up at the top, and I'm going to go to Select and Mask. Okay, now as you can see, that's completely hidden. So what I want to do is to now go to my properties for that particular mask and reduce the opacity. I'm reducing it down to something like that, about 30% or so. Okay, now what I want to also do is I want to now, having got that, that selection, I'm going to go to up here in this menu up here, which is a context menu. It should be there if you have followed along and done those things. You should see this menu up at the top. I want to go to, I'm going to select this subject. In other words, in this image, it intelligently knows where the subject is. Hopefully, I mean, Photoshop does a pretty good job, but what I want to do is to make sure that I select it with detailed results. So in other words, it's going to go through every single hair here and try to select it. So I'm going to the detailed results, and I'm going to therefore select that subject. It's just taking its time. Now, as you can see, it's now selected the picture of Einstein as opposed to the whole background. Okay, so that's good, that's pretty good. But what I want to do is to click this little button up here, which is going to refine the hair. So again, it intelligently knows to look in great detail at the way the hair is organized. So just going to zoom in on this a little bit so you can see what's going on. I'm now going to click Refine Hair. And that's now done a pretty good job of selecting the actual hair itself. Okay, now if you think that there's anything not quite right, I can see up here there's a little bit that's maybe going a bit too far. It's just taking a little bit more information than it should. So I can use one of these brushes over here on the left hand, in the left hand side. I'm just going to use the one at the top here. And then you can adjust the size of this brush. You can see what size I've got with the little circle there. And then over here on the here you're either adding or removing things. I'm going to remove this. There's just a little bit here that might need to be removed. So I'm just looking at that now. And then if we're still not happy with that, we can always come back and do this again. It's not completely destructive. Okay, so having done that now, I need to go down here to the bottom of this properties panel. And what I'm going to do is to actually make this into a new layer with a layer mask. So in other words, I'm making this completely thing into a new layer. And I also want to decontaminate the colors. Now, if there's any sort of anomalies between the color of the background and the color of the outline or this particular image, I want to make sure that there's no contamination between those two, the colors drifting into the color of the object that we're interested in. So I'm just going to click OK now, and we'll see what kind of results we get. Okay, so here's the image then. You can see I've still got a little bit of stuff here that I might need to go back to. That's actually revealed it quite well. So I'm going to actually do this again then. So I'm going to undo this. So Command Z will undo what I've just done. And I'm just going to give that another try. So this is in a way a good opportunity to repeat what I've done. So we've gone back to the layer. So there's no we haven't destroyed anything. We're going back to this layer. Let's do this again. So I'm going to my detailed results, select the subject, refine the hair, and then I'm using the minus, if you like, there. The minus, in other words, remove, and I'm just going to remove this block here. And also a little bit up here. And a little bit here. Right, okay, and then we're going back to new layer with layer mask. Okay, one or two little places there, but we can sort that out later. And now what I'm going to do is to turn this, put this back on and turn this off here. And now we've got a pretty good result here. But I do want to erase some of these things here. So for this I can just simply use the eraser tool, which is over here. Okay. Okay, let's actually zoom out then and see how that works. Okay, that's pretty good. Now for the final part of this little exercise, we're just going to add some text to this. So over here on the toolbar, I'm going to use the T for text, just select that. And then I'm just going to start typing over here. Now let's actually just type Einstein on the beach. Now don't worry too much about the typeface that I'm using. That's actually come up like that because that's the last one, the last typeface that I used in a project using Photoshop. It just remembers what I did last. Obviously you've got lots of choices of typefaces, and for this we actually need to go to the properties panel. So I'll just bring that a little bit closer here. This is the properties panel where you can change all of the aspects of the type. So you can see for the moment in the paragraph settings, I've got this centered. Obviously you can make these changes, but I'll explain as we go along. The typeface size is here. And the typeface choice is here. So obviously I've got a lot of different choices of typeface, and you've got different ones, I'm sure, on your PC rather than on your Mac. A whole nother topic really, typeface choices. But let's actually just leave that typeface where it is. I'm going to change the color, however, to white. And I also now want to separate these words out, because what I want to do is to have the freedom to manipulate the major words on here. I mean, obviously Einstein and beach are the two major words, so I might want to make those bigger or a different weight and so on. So the way that I'm going to do this is just simply to take this block here and copy it. Now I can do that by going to Edit, Copy and Paste. Or alternatively, if you use your Option key on your keyboard, you can actually just drag this down like this. So you can actually make, in fact, I'm going to make 3 copies of this. Doesn't matter where it is at the moment. But in this first copy, you'll see that, by the way, it's made 3 separate layers. I'm going to take the word Einstein on its own. So in other words, I'm going to delete back. I'm going to delete back to Einstein. And then on this second one here, I'm going to put my text cursor in there and get rid of the word Einstein. And I'm also going to get rid of the word beach. And then on the final one, which is this layer down here, I'm going to simply, although it's actually much more difficult than you think to actually select the text, and I'm going to separate that out. Okay, so I've now got these separate words here. So I'm going to make some changes to this. So for example, the word Einstein, I'm going to make that larger. I don't know, I'm just guessing at the moment. And I'm going to do the same for beach. I'm going to make that 72, maybe even more. Maybe make that 90 pixels. And then the word Einstein, I think I'll even make that even larger. Let's make that 100 points. Now, as you can see, we can manipulate these words all over. We can make them anywhere we like. I'm going to actually do something a little bit interesting here, just as an example, just to show you. So we've basically got the word beach here, and I'm going to make that even larger. So let's make that very large. and then make this even larger. Let's actually go to, I don't know, 180. Yeah, that's slightly too big, but what we can do with this is we can actually reduce the spacing between the letters. So I'm going to just put a -10 there, just to bring it in a little bit tighter, but I obviously need to reduce this down to 175, I think. Still a little bit too big. And still a little bit too big. Let's go for 165. Yep, almost there. Okay, so rather than watch me fiddle about with this too much, I'm now going to just go to that layer there, move this down. I'm still a bit unhappy with that. Still seems a little bit big, so I'm going to reduce that down to 150. It's made it 1,500. Okay, 150. Okay, that should do. Now I could organise this slightly differently, but the idea really, just to sort of give you an example of what we're trying to achieve here, is that I'm just trying to do it in such a way that the word beach is actually over, or it somehow combines with the image. Now obviously, as you can see, it's not good that it's actually sitting at the moment over the top of the hair, so you've got white hair, you've got white lettering. That's not very good. So what we can do, there's a number of things we can do about that. If we want to put something like this together, we can take the word beach and we can put an outline on it. Now the way that we do that is through this FX. If you go down to the lettering or that particular layer and click FX, we can now use an outer glow. And then for the outer glow, I'm going to use black, and I'm going to put that to be normal. And as you can see, that puts an outline on it. But I want to maybe make that slightly less, so it's not too dramatic, and that will do fine. But then the other thing that we could do is we could take the lettering and put it underneath the image of Einstein. So the way we do this is to drag that whole layer down below this layer, and as you can see, what we've now got is we've got it underneath, and that's the sort of thing that you might see on a magazine cover. You're going to see sometimes the lettering sort of, if you like, giving that impression of the picture of the person maybe sitting over the top of some of the letters. I mean, it may be that that's a little bit too close, and I think I would just basically do something a little bit more like that. Let's actually take these and put these up here, and if you've got a lighter background altogether, then you might actually want to you know, make these give an outline to all of this lettering, or indeed give it different colors depending on what you're trying to do. So the other thing is that the image of Einstein himself can be moved up, although we've already cut that off, but we can increase the size slightly. So I'm going to do that and just bring it up a little bit more, and then I'm going to take all of these the text, and I'm going to select all of the text together like this. So I've used my command key to select those together, and I'm going to go to my select, I think it's under layer. Yeah, I'm going to group those layers together. So those layers now can be manipulated together by selecting that group. just simply won't allow me to do that, and I don't know why. There we are, that's better. Okay, right, so that will do for the moment. Thank you.